Good evening, everyone. How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Ruby Girl Talk with your favorite Ruby Girl, Dr. Karron Dodd. I have here tonight these fantastic women. Each one of these women, except for Dr. Anissa, has served in the military. Am I correct, Dr. Anissa? Are you
You're
signing
absolutely
up?
correct.
Okay.
Everybody.
I'm just making sure you're not signing up this week or
No, no,
tomorrow.
no, honey. No, not that would
Okay.
not be my ministry. Mhm.
So welcome everybody. I am ready to have a great time with these ladies and honestly, I am so honored to be on the Zoom with each and every one of y'all. I see y'all as brave and courageous women cuz me, I wouldn't even make it through one day of training of even signing up in the office. I'm just going to be honest with you. I am not military material. Y'all would be so upset with me if we had to go to battle because you wouldn't find me. I'll be somewhere over in the bush. I was like, somebody got to live to call the police, tell the story. I'll be the reporter. So, hey, everybody, before we get started, I want these ladies to go on my Facebook page, find this video, and I want them to share it on their page because I love for their people to also participate, to comment, to laugh, to cry, whatever's going on. I want them to be a part of it. And if you're out there watching, you know what I need you to do? It's so free. Share the video. So I know you just coming on, you just getting situated and everything, but get ready to share. And so while these ladies are looking on my page, let me introduce you once again to the Ruby Girl brand. So Ruby Girl comes from Proverbs 31 and 10. Who can find a virtuous woman for her price is far above the price of a ruby. So ladies, that makes you rare, virtuous, and you know you are so valuable. And so my brand is trying to restore the value of women. We bring so much into this world, so much into culture, so much into the lives of people that we touch, but we're undervalued and disrespected. But you know what? God is restoring that one woman at a time through the Ruby Girl brand. So go to rubygirl.net, get your t-shirt so you can be in uniform. These ladies know about being in uniform. Am I right, ladies? Uniforms.
Yeah.
Uniforms are important. It represents, so represents God's brand, Ruby Girl. Let me tell you, it's going to start a conversation because people are going to say, what is a Ruby Girl? And there you go. That's your opportunity to witness. So every Thursday is Ruby Girl Day. So this is what we do, ladies. We put on our Ruby Girl shirt. We take selfies. We have pictures. And I'm even going to feature y'all on Ruby Girl Day. I play with your pictures. I put you in scenes, give you background. I just have fun. I make y'all look good on Ruby Girl Day. And so on Ruby Girl Day, people come to my page to find out about the women that I'm putting out there and connecting with them and just seeing the greatness that we are surrounded by. So let's get this party started with Dr. Anissa. I want you to introduce yourself. Each lady's going to give me a 30-second introduction. I can't wait to see how powerful, amazing these women are. So Dr. Anissa, I don't know why I want to call you Anissa, Dr. Anissa. Could you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, great evening. First, Dr. K, thanks so much for this platform, for allowing me and my friends to come on. I appreciate your platform. I appreciate your mission. It's consistent with my philosophy in life, and I'm sure with the ladies, I have no doubt because I know each of them individually. So I am Dr. Anissa Short. I am a woman who loves ice cream, who loves meeting people. I love to laugh. I love a good book. I love sand between my toes. I love my husband. I love I love Jesus. I'm a Jesus girl, and I just love doing what I do in this platform of being a literary agent. I don't know, maybe a consultant or what have you. I love being able to work with women in various capacities because I too believe that women bring value to the table, and when our confidence is elevated, we can rule the world at a greater level. So that's a little bit about me.
Hi, I'm Dr. Carol Hairston, and I'm retired. I just retired from civil service, did 40 years altogether with military and civil service. I'm currently working on a business of creating t-shirts and mugs and tumblers and money cakes and all this stuff. I'm just living life. I'm loving it, and I am excited about being invited on this show, and to share my story. So that's it for me.
Thank you. That was two wonderful introductions. I was getting a double sound in my headpiece. So thank you for moving right along, Dr. Carol. I do appreciate it. That was a wonderful introduction. And Dr. Anissa, I'm glad you like ice cream.
Listen, all year long. I don't have to have it in the summer, summer, spring, winter, fall. You can't go wrong with ice cream.
You're right. You're right. You're right. All right. Thank you, Dr. Carol. And thank you, Dr. Anissa, so much. Who's next?
I guess I'll go. Hi, good evening. My name is Michelle McKenney. I am the co-owner and CEO of Ugly Essentials. I'm also a retired Army veteran. I love dogs. I'm a mental health therapist. I like to laugh. I love to shop. And I'm a cancer survivor.
Amen. Congratulations. My friend always say a cancer conqueror. That's what you are, a cancer conqueror. We're glad you're here in more ways than one, Michelle. All right. Who's next? Is this Natosha? Is this Shanessa?
Hi, this is
Next?
Shanessa. I'll go.
Hi.
My name is Shanessa Vansluytman. Just so you know, the U is silent and the Y sounds like I if you try to pronounce it. I am a mother of three, 8 and 7. Zahara is 9 and Yamani is 11. I'm also a student. I am finishing my bachelor's degree in business management with a concentration in business administration with a concentration in management. Currently, I have 2 more classes after the summer and I will be done. I'm also the CEO of the Essence Property Solutions, which we basically flip properties. And that is one of my passions that I do. And besides that, I love to travel. As you can see, I came back from Mexico. I got a nice little tan going on here. And like Anissa, I'm a Jesus girl. I love the Lord, and I am a purpose woman. I love to help people, and I've always asked God to make me an answer. So with everything I'm doing, I'm praying that I help someone with my story, and so that they can help someone else. Thank you.
Yeah, amen. I love it. Jesus girl. Go girl.
Yes.
Miss Natosha, you never last.
Well, good evening, ladies. I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to share the platform with just all these amazing women. I recently retired. Well, can't say recently. It's been about a year since I retired from the Navy after 26 years of service. My husband and I, relocated to Texas, and we are just retired, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up, which I do believe is going to still be in entrepreneurship and anything that has to do with service. I do believe that God is calling me to work with young women and to be a mentor to them and for them. So that's kind of the journey that I'm on right now. No children. We've got 3 awesome fur babies though that run our home. So our house is full of, pitter-pattering feet and barking and all kinds of stuff, and we love it. We love it. It just, it keeps us going. So that's me.
That's a nice me, Natosha. I love it. I love it. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you were paying attention to the introduction, because I'm going to quiz you on something and see if you get the right answer. And if you do, I will order a book from Dr. Anissa, and her book is called Becoming the Shero, the Military Edition. And so you might not, it might be a little, funny looking to you, but it's a beautiful cover. I totally love it. And it's a bestseller. She already got it stamped at the bottom, and Faith bestseller, because she knows she does good work. And I love that. I caught that, Dr. Anissa. You stamped it already bestseller. So people have to pick it up and say, oh, this is a bestseller because it says it's a bestseller on it. So tonight I'm excited to talk to Dr. Anissa about her vision and have her break it down, how she came to start the Shero, the Shero the Shero Anthology and the Shero series. There we go. And so we're going to be talking about, once again tonight, Becoming the Shero, the military edition. And if you didn't pick up, each one of these ladies, if you're just tuning in, they have served in some capacity in the military. And I just want to thank you, first of all, for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice, not of just your time, but even putting your life on the line. And I know that being in the military is not easy at all. So Dr. Anissa, tell us, we know this is part of the Shero series, but what is a Shero for those that don't know?
Well, everybody knows what a hero is, right? And so this is one of three. The third of the series is going to be introduced later this year. But think about when you were a child and we watched television stories like Wonder Woman and Almighty Isis, and they were just, when trouble came, they would go and Wonder Woman would spin around and then she'd have on her robe and her garb or what have you. And so one of the things that came to me is that, as a child, we looked at Wonder Woman being this, super hero. She could fly. She was, dodging bullets with her bracelets and things of that nature. And the perspective for me as an adult woman now is not that every woman is a superhero. They look like the secretary on your job. They look like, the mother that's taking care of her kids. They look like the educator. They look like the police officer. They just may be the woman in your church or someone that may be in your neighborhood, and we just see them as who they are from day to day. But at any given time in our life as a woman, we've had to step up and pull out our superpower. Michelle overcame cancer. That makes her a Shero. Carol went through changes in her life. She's overcome those. That makes her a Shero. The fact that these women have served, they're not only mothers and aunties and sister friends, and they're not only living life as any average person, but they served our country. So there was another element. And I gained a greater appreciation, not just for the sacrifice of those who serve in the military, but specifically for the women who serve in the military, mainly because we are not often appreciated or valued the way we should be because of what we do. Sometimes we make it look so effortlessly. We make it look like, it's just who I am or what have you. And then sometimes we've overcome challenges and we don't tell anybody because we don't think of them as significant. And so through the Shero series of books, I want women to tell their stories, because I believe that when life happens and when you give in lemon and you make lemonade, you need to give the recipe to your other friend, because she may need to know how to make that lemonade in the future, if not for her, for somebody else. And so the very first of the series involved women who are entrepreneurs. Any of these could have been in that book as well. This next one was military. And then the third one that will be introduced later has to do with the mantle of motherhood. And so I was excited that when I introduced this concept, they jumped on board. There are two other phenomenal women who couldn't be here today because they're still active duty. So three others that couldn't be a part of this interview. But I believe we have an excellent representation here. And so I'm excited for you to hear a little bit about their story. We're not going to give all the information. You're not going to get all the juice in this because we want you to buy the book. But that's what the Shero series is about. And that's why the military edition, when I moved to Fayetteville, to a military community, I got to see things from a different perspective and in building relationship with women in the military. And so I knew I had to make this a part of the series.
I love it. I love how you shared your vision of watching Wonder Woman. I remember watching her. Matter of fact, I've actually been in the room with her. She came to my job one time. They had interviewed her, and we peeped through the door. I don't know why we didn't get invited. Maybe I didn't reserve or something, but we peeped through the door and we were able to see Wonder Woman. And I always thought she was so beautiful, so strong. And a lot of times we try to be Wonder Woman. We take on so much, but we're not built to handle that. And so when we take on so much, we can get so loaded down. But it's okay to be a Shero meaning somebody that's been through something and has conquered it. I think that's more so what you was trying to convey to everybody, the difference between that Shero and that Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman out there doing everything, doing a supernatural thing, but a Shero is just living her life, managing her life, not living out loud, but yet and still she's impacting the lives around her. So thank you, Dr. Anissa, for giving these ladies an opportunity to share their stories. And I briefly was flipping through your book, reading some of the stories, and I was like, wow, when I read through some of these stories, when I tell you these women have been through a lot, there's sexual assault in here, there's sickness in here, you name it, is all in this book. And these ladies are more than conquerors. And for them to just um, be so open and honest, because I started thinking about some of the things I've been through, and I said, I don't know if I will put it in a book. I might put it in a conversation that wasn't broadcast, but they actually put out some of the things that they've been going through, how their childhood was, and my heart just really connected with y'all. And thank you for sharing it, because some woman out there been through what you've been through. A lot of people didn't have that good childhood. They had trauma attached to their childhood, but you showing them how to be an overcomer. So we want to start with Dr. Carol. Dr. Carol, your story is interesting because you was a ninth grade dropout on welfare with the odds of failure in your favor, but you overcame those odds. So tell us a little bit about your chapter in the book. And remember, leave them hanging. It's cliffhanger night, y'all.
Well, yes, I was a high school dropout because I got pregnant as a teenager, and I grew up in an abusive home, and I always was told I wasn't going to be anything. So for me, joining the military was my way out, my way to take care of my children, and my way out from being abused at home, and trying to figure out what I was going to do with two kids. You know, you no longer have to worry about yourself, but you have to worry about your children. So that was my main force of driving to go into the military. So, and when I went through military, it was a lot of different things that had happened to me, but, you know, I hung in there, and I was able to retire from the military after 21 years and raise my wonderful kids. My son and my daughter both served in the military, one in the Air Force and one in the Navy. My daughter retired from the Air Force. My son just did 6 years and got out, but now he's doing his dream job, a fireman. So, it was like, it was a blessing. It was God's blessing. It was a path that I was supposed to take.
Wow. And it's funny how you said people spoke into your life that you were not going to be anything. And instead of encouraging you, knowing that you were already down, they just put more dirt on you. But the thing was, the more dirt that they put on you, the more leverage it gave you to come up. And a lot of times we need to reject what people are saying to us, because the enemy will put a truth and a lie. Yeah, the odds look like you should not have became something, but because you serve a God that can make the impossible possible, then it's possible for you to become exactly who you are, Dr. Carol Hairston. So I just commend you for throwing that dirt up off of you and rising up, because you were a seed and you grew from that. You grew from that. So we just thank you, because now when we read your story, we're going to be encouraged no matter where we at. We know that we can rise even higher. So thank you, Dr. Carol. Thank you so much. So Shanessa, the title of your chapter is Millhouse. So when I first seen it, I didn't have the book, and I Googled it. I was like, what's a millhouse? And guess what I came up with? The
Bart.
Simpsons, yes. And so when I read your story and you started off with that, I started laughing. I was like, that's exactly what came to mind. So tell us about your chapter.
My chapter is pretty much about my beginning, entry into the Army, going from reserve and deciding that life was happening, and in order for me to maintain the life that I wanted to keep, I needed to go active duty. And I actually went active duty late. I think I was 37. You had to be, I think, 6 months before your 36th birthday or whatever. But yes, I ended up going active duty late. And so it was an exciting time. I was happy. I knew it was something that I'd always wanted to do. So, and it was meant for me to do it. So yes, and I have a lot of family members that are active duty. My dad was Air Force. My baby brother that passed away last year was Army, and my other baby brother was Marine. And so out of everyone, I did Army. But my story sets with me being, at Fort Bragg and, going through some trials and tests that I went through as a civilian also. So for me to go through that as an active duty and to go domestically further than what it did, it was very a very trying time for me. And so I believe that me going through it also made me stronger, even though I didn't open my mouth and say anything. I'm trying to teach people, especially young girls now, to see something, say something, open your mouth. Even if it's not for you, do it for the next person, because a lot of times people think just because when we're at a certain age, we should know something, and we don't. And that's a big misconception, especially I feel like in the military, when they have certain situations going on, when you have to guide a soldier that's getting out of the military or is getting kicked out of the military and they need supervision. They figure that, oh, since you're a certain rank, you should know something. You should know about this. But if you've never been through a situation, if you've never had to deal with that situation, you would know exactly what to do. Especially for me, from my experience, the military puts a lot on you than that they think you can bear, even though God tells us he wouldn't put more on us than what we can bear. The military for me actually tagged on so much, besides being an NCO, a re-enlistment NCO, just, taking pictures for Sergeant Major. It was just a lot on top of my job I already had. So that was a lot to have to go through on top of being a mom, a wife, soldier. It was, and going to school and being in college. It's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot. One quote that you had that I want to share was by Les Brown. And when
Uh-huh.
you talked about ladies should
Yeah.
speak up, and speaking up, they need to speak up so that other women behind them can have a voice.
Right.
And like your quote says, it says, to do something you have never done, you have to become someone you have never been. I think that all of us have immense potential within us, but greatness is a choice. It is not our destiny. And in the pursuit of our dreams, we are introduced to trials, failures, and disappointments, which take us to the door of discovery and greatness, which is awesome, which is true. We look at trials and tribulations as something that's hold us back or something that's trying to defeat us, when actually God, those things are the things that give us the strength and give us the
Right.
power to overcome. And reading your story, what you went through, and you had to be silent about it. It's almost like when you scream and no sound comes out. And for a lot of
Right.
us ladies, we can relate to that. We've been through some things where we had to scream on the inside because we couldn't tell anybody because we thought people wouldn't understand what happened to us, or they would judge us or blame us on things. Like I can never understand. Like I was watching some TV show, and I think a lady had got raped and they blamed her. And I couldn't understand, how do you blame somebody for something that somebody else do to you, or trauma that people do to you, like children? They are so silent when it comes to sexual abuse, because it freezes them. You just don't know how to tell an adult what happened to you. And then for a child, sometimes they don't know how to explain what exactly happened to them. And the groomer is such a he's so good at what they do. They make you second guess the very act that they do. Because I was reading a book today, and I was like, wow, it's just amazing how we as women, we've been silent for so long, and we need to find our voice. We need to
Right.
find our voice on how we treat it at work. It's so many things we don't talk about or speak up about, because we've been taught, just be quiet, just bear it, it'll be okay. But sometimes it's
Right.
not okay. Sometimes we
Right.
got to be a voice, like you said, for the people that's coming behind us. So thank you for
You're
putting
welcome.
a voice in this book, for speaking loud to other women that might go through what you went through.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All
Yeah.
right, guess what, y'all? It's time for our break. So, what happens during our break is that I go on social media, see what everybody's saying about us, because I know we're so popular, and we've been spilling the tea and everything. And so, while I do that, I give Dr. Anissa a whole minute to speak on whatever she wants to speak on, or whatever she wants to talk on. All right, Dr. Anissa, the show is yours.
Hey, thanks again, Dr. K. One of the things I would like to share when it comes to this concept of being a Shero and telling your stories, even in the process of writing this book and the previous book, I tell the authors, I want you to be as transparent as you feel comfortable with being, and to be authentic. And those two elements for me are pivotal, because are very vital, because one, what comes from the heart reaches the heart. People know when you're authentic. They know when you're just telling a story, or you're just going through the motions. But when you're sincere and you tell your story, the heart touches the heart. And then when it comes to transparency, I realize everyone doesn't have the same level of comfort when it comes to what may have happened. But there is healing in telling your story. So in telling your story, at whatever level of transparency you feel comfortable with, you not only do yourself a service, but you provide a service to other people. The word of God says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And oftentimes when we choose to be silent, we are putting ourselves at an inconvenience. So we're doing ourselves a disservice, because we don't get the healing that we need. There is a certain measure of healing by speaking up. We become stronger. Dr. Carol, she said, I want to be a part of this book. And when she started to write, she just kept writing and kept writing and kept writing and kept writing. And she said the words just kept coming, because there was so much that she had bottled up inside of her. And I said, okay, so you've written your major novel. Now let's just put a little bit out of this for this book. But it was good for her. She said it was good for her to tell this story. You think about her being a high school dropout. She made the decision she needed to do what was best for her children. And as a result of her decision, serving in the military, she's now taken the skill set that she's gained and blessing other children in other countries. Can you get excited? So we just never know what lies ahead of us. And I believe that part of the open doors for us as individuals is our willingness, again, to be as transparent as we feel comfortable with. Transparency may come in layers, but then to also be authentic. Be brave enough and courageous enough to tell your story, so that someone else can hear it, relate to it, be better for it. And that's what being a Shero is all about. So whether you're a mom, entrepreneur, soldier, G.I. Jane, as I call them, or whatever role you serve, we're all a Shero. We have a story to tell. So I encourage everyone to tell your story. To tell your story, someone needs to hear it.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And what you said about us being transparent, that's when we take the power. The enemy no longer has power to oppress us anymore, because we're brave enough to talk about it. As long as you keep it on the inside, he'll torture you. You're the only one, da da da. But once you release it, it is so empowering. That's when you truly become a Shero. So let's see what they're saying. So we have Pelly. Pelly is the Ruby Girl of 2022. And she said she loved it. She actually was in the military also. She said out of 13, I was the only one who joined the military, and I'm a proud Army mama. And so we got Tina out there. Tissa, just out there. I'm sorry. She says she's retired Navy herself.
Mhm.
And we have a few more people out there. They comments won't come up because Facebook is a hater. But thank you for your comments. And thank you those that have shared. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing. So I did say that I had a quiz for you. So one of these ladies have been in the Navy. Three of them have been in the Army, but only one have been in the Navy. So the first person that put out there who has been in the Navy, I will order you a book from Dr. Anissa. Don't put Dr. Anissa. Me and her have not enlisted yet. That's not our calling. That's Listen, y'all, that's not our
Yes, we're in
calling.
we're the Lord's army. We're not talking about the Lord
Yes.
tonight.
That
Right.
part.
I totally agree with you, Lord. Here I am, your soldier. All right, so it's time for part two. So part two of the Ruby Girl show, it kind of shifts a little bit. And so we want to talk to Michelle and Natasha, but we want to start with Michelle. So Michelle, when I was reading your story, you got you know how they say double for your trouble. Well, you got double bad news and all in one day. One part of it would have been hard enough to deal with it, but you got two whammies in one day. So I want you to tell us about that day when the sun became dark for you, and tell us how you journeyed back into getting your light back.
Yeah, so that was a very interesting day. um, let's just say if it wasn't for the Lord and my relationship with him, and the seeing my mom, the things that my mom went through with her journey through cancer, and the strength, because she was a nurse, and seeing how she dealt with her journey through cancer and how she gave back as a nurse, to her patients when she was dealing with her journey, was the way that I dealt with it. She was definitely a servant leader. And I think that's why I stayed as long as I did in the military, 29 years in the military. To include why I'm still serving as a mental health therapist. Why I gave back, why we have a skincare company. Because when I was sick, I couldn't find anything because my hair started falling out, my eyelashes. So we now have skincare products to serve people that need something for their hair and their face, and to give back to the community. So it was definitely a day I could only make it colorful. That's how I cope. So I'm trying not to give out so many pieces, so they just got to go out there and buy the book and
You
read.
spill a little tea.
But it was hard because you're talking about find out you have cancer, and then you're finding out that you're losing one of your senses that you need, so you're having a sense of hopelessness. To include, I work in a position as a senior leader, and at the time, the job that I had was a I was the Deputy Inspector General for 18 Airborne Corps for the post. So needless to say, how am I going to work? How am I going to, I was the president of my sorority, my chapter of my sorority, how am I going to do anything? And all of this is going on at that same time, and still function and still smile. So it was a lot. There was only one other time in my life that I felt that hopelessness, and I shared that in the book. When I had my attempt. So that was a long time ago. But I wanted to be transparent because there's a lot of times for us in the military, we don't share. And especially at my rank, it is a stigma to even talk about things like that. So I just wanted to be a light for someone that, hey, you can have these type of feelings and it's okay. And it's okay to let somebody know. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. It makes sense. As a cancer conqueror, how many years have you conquered cancer?
So now this is 23. So it's only been actually 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
That's
So
good.
this, yeah,
That's
2 years.
2 years of walking cancer free. And we speaking to declaring that this cancer doesn't come back, that was just part of your journey and that it will never be another part of your journey again. I can't imagine hearing, as they say, the C word, because instantly for us, the first thing we think about is we're not going to make it. So it takes a level of faith to walk through, because two people can get cancer, be at the same stage. Somebody want to live and one won't live. And I
Right.
think it's based upon faith and you sharing with the right people. I know a lot of people never tell people about cancer. They end up dying. I had a friend, she didn't tell me she had cancer. I reached out to her. Hey, what's going on? She said, oh, I'm doing good. She did my taxes. And I asked her for my password. She never mentioned she had cancer. Then I had my hairdresser. She had the same type of cancer, but she was telling everybody, you know, you're going to pray for your hairdresser because you don't want your hairdresser to go nowhere. So we probably was just blowing heaven up. Dear Lord, we need her. And she was even doing hair while she had cancer. It was only one time she was like, I need y'all to at least blow dry your hair. But the whole time during her treatments, she was doing hair. My friend passed away. Now my friend was in ministry, was out there doing whatever she needed to do for the Lord, everything. And my hairdresser was kind of living her life. I'll put it like that. But she lived. But my friend, she didn't say nothing really to anybody. So I said, if I get it, I'm gonna let everybody know, because I can't, my one little prayer needs some backup. So Michelle, I commend you. That had to be the hardest day of your life. And find out that you're losing your sense, and then to find out the C word in just one day. But it had to be a measure of faith in you that made you hold your head up and say, I'm gonna make it. No matter what happened, Lord, I'm gonna trust you. You had to go into Job mode. You
I
know,
did.
if you yes, that's the
Yeah.
mode you have to go into. That
I did.
even though you slay me, Lord, I'm still gonna trust you. I'm gonna still praise you. I'm gonna still lift you up. I'm gonna still believe in you. So thank you for sharing that story, because there's a lot of women out there that's going to get that double announcement. It might not be cancer. It might be their husband leaving and then turn around, their child passed away. It's a lot of times that we get double things happen to us. Life happens. And like Dr. Anissa said, we got to learn how to make lemonade, and we got to pass that recipe on. All right. Anything else you want to say, Michelle, or share?
Yeah, that, you know, things do get better, and it might seem that it might even get worse because a year later it did come back, you know. But I went through it, the sun came up, and hey, I'm here, I'm 51 and I look good.
Yes.
I have some forever friends with me for the rest of my life, but that's all right. No, that's okay. But we have to still be here, and just live life in the moment, because it's not promised, but we just have to be, tell your story. Just tell your story. Be better than you were the day before. And always smile. Always smile.
Thank you. Thank you for those tips. We wish you the best. Can't wait till your 100th birthday. Can't wait to celebrate with you. We're going to be around, y'all. All right. Natasha, how are you today?
I am amazing. How are you?
Fine. So let's talk about your chapter. Your chapter is called from the ashes. And I want you to give us 3 tips before you finish closing out about talking about your chapter on how to come back up when life knocks us down.
Ooh, okay. Well, so my chapter, writing it was, I was writing down the words as Dr. Anissa was saying them, about healing and being brave enough to tell his story. And for me, writing, my story was very cathartic. It was healing in a way, and it actually forced me to have some hard conversations with people in my family because of the things that I wrote about, in my chapter of the book. And so really, just like, the other amazing women or the other amazing co-authors, our stories are about perseverance and triumph and just not, allowing things to, hold us down and keep us back no matter the circumstance. And so for me, for the longest time, I said, people have been telling me that I should write a book. And I told myself that when I retired, I was going to write a book, and the title was going to be From the Ashes. And I had that in my brain for years prior to this opportunity presenting itself. So I was very thankful for that. The title for me, I feel like my life was, it's been trial by fire, and it wasn't until after I had kind of talked to someone really close to me about what I wrote in the book and my story, and she had said, everybody that was placed in your life to protect you failed. And I said, whoa, and I had to really sit and think about that. And I'm like, well, that's true. There's truth to that. And so there were some hard conversations that I had to have. Really, so one of the 3 things I'll say is what I've learned from my story and how I live my life and kind of suppress things is that if you don't address it, it'll present in other ways. And so for me, I'd been in excruciating pain for years. No one could tell me what it was. They had been testing me for autoimmune diseases, this, that, and the third. And it wasn't until 2019 when they said, you know what, they diagnosed me with fibromyalgia. And the rheumatologist said, I'm not going to prescribe you a medication. I'm going to give you a consult for a therapist. You need to sit and talk to someone. And I said, talk to someone about what? And he said, well, in my experience, women who have this kind of pain is usually due to some sort of childhood sexual trauma. And when I tell you I bawled, and him and the nurse were looking at me like, what switch did I just turn on? Because in that moment, I realized everything that all the controls that I put in place and the compartmentalization that I did, I thought I dealt with it and handled it. But guess what? I didn't, because I never addressed it. And so the book for me was an opportunity to kind of get everything that I could out within the parameters and put it on paper and sit in it, and, I talked to my mom and we sat in it, and so it's been an amazing journey. I too was told, I wasn't going to be anything by certain people. The things that happened to me in my life really suppressed my voice. So I went a long time with just kind of going with the flow. Well, what do you want to do? Whatever you want to do. What do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? I never had, really had a voice. And so writing my story, dealing with the things that I've had to deal with since that diagnosis has really, helped me to find my voice. It hasn't worked out too well for some other folks, because now I'm telling you how I feel. But for me, it's been, oh my goodness, it's just been a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. And so I'm definitely thankful for the opportunity to be able to share my story. And you know, Pete, the feedback, you know, from people who've read the book is, you know, I was in tears, you know, reading you guys' stories. I just couldn't stop crying, or, oh my God, this happened to me. I mean, it was just, you know, so I know that what we've come together to create, you know, is helping other women, other people. So that's awesome for me. So I'll say this. So that was, I already gave you my first thing. The second tip is, I would say, don't allow your current circumstances to dictate your future. No matter where you're at in life right now, good, bad, or ugly, you can always turn it around. But it's up to you to make that choice. It's a choice to decide to do and be better and to overcome. And so instead of allowing it to dictate your future, you know, make it your testimony, and not your excuse. So those are my, I guess those are my three. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Natosha. Thank you so much. One thing that sexual abuse does, it takes away a person's voice. It takes away their authority, because you wasn't able to say yes to that person. That person made their own yes and took what they shouldn't have taken. So it's easy to be agreeable. It's easy to not, you know, to just go along with it because that's what you were taught when you were sexually abused.
Right.
Wow, that was deep. So if y'all haven't decided to order the book, it's called Becoming the Shero, the military edition. And how do they get it, Dr. Anissa?
It's on
How can they order your
Amazon.
book? It's on
It's on
Amazon.
Amazon, right?
Yep, you can
It's
go.
on Amazon. It could, if they were to go to Amazon, they could put just the title of the book into the search engine. They can, all of our names are listed because it's a collaborative project. I'm the initiator of the project, but their names are listed as authors. So if they would just go, they'll see the military edition. Type in the name Becoming the Shero Military Edition on Amazon, they'll find it.
All right. So
It's
y'all
also
type it right.
on Barnes and Noble.
It
Okay.
is Barnes and, yeah, it's at Barnes and Nobles as well. And so let me say this, if I may, Dr. K, one of the things that I know through this work and another capacity for which I serve is that I've been called to work with women. And so I do that in under two different platforms. And so my publishing mentor said to me, she started the publishing company for which that helps with the publishing of my books, because God told her that people had stories that needed to be told. And those stories were going to serve to heal them as well as to make a difference in the lives of other people. And that every person has a story. And so when she said that to me some years ago, you know, I thought that was profound. Well, then I find myself in this series, starting with the entrepreneurial edition and now this military edition. I have no doubt in my mind, regardless of what a woman's story is, that if they have the courage to share it, and they do so, as I said before, with the level of transparency that they feel comfortable with from an authentic place, it is going to be healing for them, and it's going to make a difference or make a difference in the life of someone else. And that has been a consistent theme, no matter what. You know, sometimes we think, well, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know if this really makes a difference. I don't know how people are going to see me in this light. And people's lives are being blessed by these stories. They really have been. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I have opportunity to serve in this capacity. And I'm even the more thankful that these women trusted me. I mean, I know the only common denominator that they had was they served in the military and they all knew me. That was it. You know, so they trusted me on this assignment, and together we've been able to make a difference in some small way. And so for that's a blessing. It really is.
And you know, what I really heard from these ladies is that you gave them an opportunity to tell their stories, to put their stories out there. Because like you say, everybody have a story, but then we drag our feet like, I don't have enough for a book or this, but it's people like you, Dr. Anissa, that decide to do what God has called them to do with Anthology. Anthology is healing for a lot of people. It
Mhm.
is, because they holding this inside, and like Natasha said, she had to have conversations. So the anthology sometimes become like almost therapy, honestly, because now you're brave enough to go talk to them people, or you put your story out there and initiate conversation. So ladies, guess what? We're at the end of the show. And so I want to give each one of y'all a minute. We have like, let me see, about 10, 11 minutes. So I want to give each one of y'all about 60 seconds. Y'all stay within y'all 60 seconds now. I'm gonna be like at the funeral, I have to mute you. Nah. So with your 60 seconds, so let me pull up the presentation. So when you see your face, you'll know that it's time for you to start chatting. All right. So let's see here. I have really enjoyed the Ruby Girl Talk with y'all tonight. I really have. It's been a joy. It's truly been a joy. So let me go all the way back. All right, let's start from the beginning. All right, y'all ready? All right, Dr. Carol.
Okay. There's, to me, I think that you have to do whatever you need to do. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. I dropped out of high school in the 9th grade, and now I have 7 degrees. And I guess I kept going to school because I wanted to prove that I was worthy enough. And so I just tell people, just follow your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. Just do what you need to do. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Shanessa.
Yes. So I would like to say, I would like to encourage everyone to be anxious for nothing, but through prayer and supplication, make your requests known to God and wait, have an ear to hear, and He will answer. Share. It doesn't hurt us to share. Someone can be healed from our sharing. Something can be stopped just because we share our experience. And don't be afraid to talk and let somebody know that there's something going on. One of the biggest things is depression in your situation or whatever's happening to you. Depression can cause more to happen to you. So I would say seek an outlet to help you get through that situation so that you can help someone else get through another situation. So be a purpose person, not just a purpose woman, but be a purpose person and be intentional about what you do.
Be intentional of your word, and give yourself grace, but also give others grace. And always try to think before we speak, because sometimes we don't realize that words hurt and we can never take them back. And if there's something that you're battling with, just pray about it before you make a decision. Sometimes we make a decision before we pray about it, or just really think about it before you make a decision. Try not to make a decision on emotions, and always try to be the best version of you. And you gotta love yourself before you can love anybody else.
That was good.
It was good.
Yes.
Natasha.
Okay. So I'll just say, if anyone is ever telling you that you can't, or you won't, or you'll never, tell tell yourself that you can, because you're worthy and you matter and you're beautiful, and all the things, turn all those negative things into positive affirmations for yourself. Sky's the limit. There are no glass ceilings except for the ones that you make for yourself. And even those you can break through. Parents, listen to your children. Just because something happened to you when you were a child doesn't make it okay that it happened to your child. Take action on it. And, for young women, gosh, if you're struggling, reach out to someone, find a mentor, find an outlet, somebody positive who can lift you up, but who's also going to give it to you straight. And, just keep pushing. The world is our oyster, right? We can do whatever we want to do, but we got to do the work. You got to do the work. And just keep fighting, keep pushing. God's got us. He proves that every single day. Every morning we wake up and we take that first breath, that's him letting us know that I've got you. You made it through the night, and I'm going to carry you through another day. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Dr.
Well, a lot has already been shared in the course of you hearing the stories of the co-authors, their nuggets, as well as the information I've shared already. But there are two ways I would say every woman can become or stand as a Shero. One is they become their own advocate, that they speak up and speak out, that they do what's necessary to overcome circumstances and to stand in their truth, not to be ashamed, but realizing that despite what may have happened to you or is happening to you, whether it be the good, the bad, the ugly, it all can work together for your good if you choose that for yourself. So in being a Shero, you can be a Shero first for yourself. And then second, never underestimate the power of your story. I've said that over and over again. Everything can work together for good if we are willing to share our stories. Be as authentic as you feel comfortable with. Definitely be transparent, knowing that as you do that, you are not only advocating for yourself, but you're making a difference, and you're shifting the trajectory of even another person's life, because younger women behind us are going to face some of the things that we have faced as adult women. And if we tell our stories in advance and we show them the way, they can avoid some of the pitfalls that we have fallen into. They can learn from our mistakes. They can learn from the things that we did that were good. As I said, nothing's ever lost. It's all in our perspective. So be a Shero for yourself and choose to be a Shero for someone else, because as Dr. K said, we're all Ruby girls. We're valuable, and we should let our light shine in some type of way, so that we not only are shining bright like rubies, which are rare, but we're making a difference and adding value to the lives of other people as well. That's what we're here for.
Man. So how can we get in touch with you, Dr. Anissa?
They can find me online, AnissaShort.com. That's easy. AnissaShort.com. They can find me on Instagram and on Facebook as at @ Dr. Anissa Short. Find me there. Find me either place, either or. That'll be perfectly fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Ladies, this was amazing. Totally amazing. Thank you so much for sharing out of your heart. And I just want to say, becoming the Shero. I think it should say became the Shero, because each lady in this book started off struggling from childhood, odds against them and everything, but they came out the hero of their story. They had to make their story happen for themselves. They had to walk closely with God. God opened some doors for them. God slammed some doors for them that they go through. They had to be a voice with others that couldn't even speak up for themselves. And Dr. Anissa, you are so right. Write your story so that somebody else come behind you can read it. We think of the Bible. They wrote the Bible thousands of years ago. And even now, we still going to the Bible to navigate our life today. And so somebody's going to go to this book years from now, centuries from now, becoming the Shero. We don't know. It won't be paper. I can guarantee you that. It'll be some kind of something, but it won't be paper, but it'll be a new way, but it'll still be relevant for that woman that's struggling in that next century. She's still, because trust me, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that we've been through, somebody has been through it. And that's why we go to the word of God and we connect with somebody that's in there. Somebody's been violated, maybe not exactly the way we were, but they were violated, they were disrespected. So with this book, I know some women out there, some women out there are going to be delivered, and they're going to get, you gave them the courage to tell their story. So I want to thank each one of y'all. Not only did you serve your country through your service in the military, you're serving your country through this book, Becoming the Shero, the military addiction. So y'all go out to Amazon, support these ladies. I mean, look, it doesn't cost that much to support somebody. Other cultures support each other. So yeah, let's support each other. It's a great book. And like I said, put in the chat, who was the person that was in the Navy? Was it Carol? Was it Michelle? Was it Shanessa? Or was it Natosha? So whoever puts the right name in there first, you'll get a copy of this book. I'll go on Amazon, I'll get your address, and I'll order it for you. I'm about support. So, all right, ladies, thank you so much. I enjoyed talking to you. And each one of y'all have your own invite. If you want to come back by yourself just to talk about your business, yourself, or anything, you're welcome to come back on the Ruby Girl Talk. I really enjoyed you tonight. And everybody out there that shared, that commented, thank you. I'll be back next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with another fantastic guest. So y'all out there, y'all have a great and wonderful